Being a royal is pretty much every girl's dream. To marry a prince and then become a princess yourself is like a fairy tale. But what most people don't think about is how many rules come with being in the royal family. It isn't all tea parties and social events. Have you ever wondered how Meghan Markle is stacking up against all the rules of British royalty? Stay tuned to find out why her and Harry's engagement photos had the royals up in arms. If this is your first time visiting our channel, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more great content. Leave us an original comment down below for your chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card. Today we're showing you 10 rules Meghan Markle has to follow and 5 she's already broken. No selfies. Everyone loves selfies. You'd be lying if you said that you never took one. Pretty much everyone has a selfie or two on their Instagram profile. Everyone except royals, that is. Apparently, royals aren't allowed to take selfies in public. They can, of course, take them in the privacy of their own homes, but they shouldn't post them on any social media sites. It may seem like a strict rule, but when you think about it, it does make sense. Selfies are, at their core, kind of vain. The royal family probably doesn't want to portray vanity in any way. This shouldn't be too big of a problem for Meghan. It's not like she posted lots of selfies before she was engaged anyway. Most of the photos on her Instagram are of the causes that she cares about. We don't see the royal family having any problem with that. No shellfish. This is one of the weirder rules on the list. The royal family isn't allowed to eat shellfish, but the reason behind it isn't really because of dietary restrictions or to stay thin. Shellfish are unpredictable. People often come down with food-related illnesses due to this type of food. The royal family abides by a very strict schedule. They have lots of appearances to make and even more business endeavors to attend to. They can't risk spending a few days in bed due to food poisoning or an upset stomach. Some royals will break this rule and eat shellfish from time to time. Who can resist all shellfish 100% of the time? No one. But even the royals who break the rule definitely don't make it a habit. Must always carry black attire. You never know where you will be when tragedy strikes, so the royals prepare for that. How, you might ask? Well, whenever they are traveling, they must always pack an outfit that is funeral appropriate. The rule stemmed from when Queen Elizabeth's father, King George VI, passed away while she was away in Kenya. The princess had no appropriate funeral attire with her. When she landed back in the UK, there was a sea of paparazzi waiting for her, wanting to see how she was reacting to her father's death. Unfortunately, since she hadn't packed appropriately, she looked more like she was going on vacation than returning to bury her father. In order to keep this from happening again, the royal family instated this rule. They won't be caught unprepared again. No social media. Everyone has social media these days. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't, especially celebrities. Their social media accounts are their brands. Social media is how celebrities show the world what they want them to see. But royals aren't normal celebrities. They aren't allowed to have their own social media accounts. Accounts like Kensington Royal post pictures of the royal family, but those accounts are extremely curated. So when Meghan marries Harry, she will have to either delete or turn over her social accounts. This may be for the best, though. Can you imagine if Meghan was Snapchatting all of her nights out once she became a princess? It could be extremely dangerous for the crown. Part of the appeal of the royals is that they are so mysterious. If each member of the family had their own Instagram and Twitter accounts, that would definitely ruin the air of mystery. No voting. In America, voting has always been a super important right. People have died for the ability to vote, but Meghan will have to give that right up when she becomes a princess. Why? Because royals aren't allowed to vote. They are supposed to be completely impartial. Can you imagine if the Queen were to endorse a political candidate? It would cause complete chaos. So no matter how into politics Meghan may be, she will have to stay out of it where Britain is concerned. We wonder if she will still be able to vote in American elections. That may be a conflict of interest since she will be leading a completely different country. Will she become a dual citizen, or will she completely give up her American citizenship? We will have to wait and see. Neutral nails only. There are so many ways to express yourself. Nails are one of them. You can paint them to match however you are feeling, but if you are royal, you don't get to be quite as expressive. Royals are only allowed to wear neutral colors on their nails. In the past, Meghan has opted to wear darker shades than neutrals. She better enjoy the darker colors while she still can, because once she becomes royal, there will be none of that. We completely understand where the royal family is coming from with this rule. Their whole brand is about being clean and polished. Nothing looks more clean than neutral colors. It is also a great way to ensure that you don't offend anyone. This rule might be a bit restrictive, but at least Meghan won't ever have to worry about her nails clashing with her outfits again. Follow the Queen. When it comes to how Meghan will interact with the Queen, there are a lot of rules she must be aware of. For instance, she must curtsy whenever she greets the Queen. Formal greetings between other family members are negotiable, but for the Queen, it is a given. She must also always be watching the Queen during meals. When the Queen is done eating, then everyone else must also be finished, regardless of whether you are still hungry or not. Meghan must also watch out if Elizabeth begins to stand. Whenever Her Royal Highness stands, everyone around her must also stand. For a lot of these rules, Meghan can just look around to make sure if she is doing what everyone else is doing. But if she happens to be not paying attention one day, she could get in some hot water. Tiara. When you look at a princess wearing a tiara, you probably think that she just plopped it on her head and walked out the door. That is not the case at all. When it comes to tiaras, there are plenty of rules. In the past, tiaras were worn pretty far forward on the woman's head, but now modern style dictates that it should be worn a little further back. The tiara must sit at the perfect 45-degree angle when viewed from the side. Meghan must also wear a tiara on her wedding day. Traditionally, the tiara should come from the bride's family, and then after the wedding day, she would be expected to wear the groom's family jewelry. However, this rule is not always followed. The last time it was broken was actually by Harry's mom, Princess Diana. No monopoly. Most of the rules on this list make sense when you think about them for a while, but this particular stipulation is super strange. The royals aren't allowed to play Monopoly. We know. You are probably wondering why a children's board game would be banned from the royals. Well, apparently the game gets a little too intense. In 2008, the Leeds Building Society gave Prince Andrew the game. Unfortunately, he couldn't accept it. He told them that the royals were not allowed to play Monopoly at home because the game got too vicious. Isn't that funny? The royals, who deal with wars and international diplomacy, can't handle a game of Monopoly. Were they playing with real money or something? They must have been, otherwise, why would someone get so angry over a game that they would ban it from their whole family? We need more answers. Pinkies down. When you were younger, you may have heard the saying, "When in doubt, pinkies out." Well, apparently that saying is completely off. Royals have a specific way of drinking tea, and it has absolutely nothing to do with putting your pinky out. To drink tea correctly, Meghan should use her thumb and index finger to hold the top of the handle. The middle finger will support the bottom of the cup. She must also drink from the same spot so lipstick stains don't get all over the whole cup. If Meghan would rather drink coffee, there are rules for that too. She must loop her index finger through the handle when drinking the caffeine-filled drink. That seems like a lot to remember every time you want to have a warm beverage. We wonder if there are rules pertaining to every drink. What does she have to do if she wants to drink a simple glass of water? No pantyhose. Now that we have gone over some of the rules that Meghan will have to follow, let's get into some of them that she has already broken. For instance, when you looked at Meghan and Prince Harry's engagement photos, what did you see? You were probably just thinking that they were beautiful pictures. Well, the rest of the royals undoubtedly saw something different. In her engagement photos, Meghan didn't wear pantyhose under her dress. Anyone familiar with the royal family knows that this is completely unallowed. Pantyhose must always be worn when a royal's legs are shown out in public. We wonder what made Meghan go against this rule. Maybe she decided that her outfit looked better without the pantyhose and just didn't care about the rule. She's divorced. The royals like to keep everything prim and proper, meaning that they want to portray themselves as doing everything the right way. For that reason, divorce is usually a big no-no. Just look at what happened in the past. Princess Margaret was forced to split from her partner, Edward Townsend, and when Edward VIII wanted to marry the love of his life, he had to abdicate the throne. At that time, marrying a divorcee was extremely forbidden, and he would have rather lived with her than be king. The rule is becoming a little more lax now, as Prince Charles himself married a divorcee after he and Diana split. Meghan used to be married to a film producer named Trevor Engelson, but the two got divorced after only 2 years being married. It doesn't seem like Harry really cares. She talks to the press. We never really know what is going on in the lives of the royals, and you know why that is? Because they refuse to talk to the press, at least not about their relationships. Meghan Markle, on the other hand, was an actress, so she was used to talking to press about romantic things before she even met Harry. In her feature in Vanity Fair, she spoke about what it was like to be with Harry. She told the magazine that they had been quietly dating for 6 months before it became big news. She went into detail about how she was working the whole time they were dating. She even talked about what had changed for her since she began dating him. While giving away details like that may make her more relatable to the public, it is definitely frowned upon by the royal family. PDA is her thing. Royal relationships aren't usually very hot and steamy, and there's a reason for that. They aren't really allowed to be very touchy-feely on one another in public. But Meghan and Prince Harry obviously don't care about this rule. They are always holding hands and holding on to one another. They were even spotted holding hands at the Invictus Games. If they were trying to hide their affection for one another, holding hands at such a prominent event was not the way to do it. These two obviously love each other so much that they don't care how it comes across. We wonder how the Queen felt about that. Do you think she scolded the two when they got home? Can you imagine getting scolded by the Queen herself? Talk about scary. She talks about politics. As we mentioned before, royals are pretty mum's the word when it comes to politics. They aren't allowed to choose sides, at least not in public. Well, in the last American election, Meghan made it very clear what she thought about one candidate in particular. She called the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, misogynistic. She was also very open about her support for his opponent, Hillary Clinton. Now, that was all well and good back when she was just an actress, but now that she is a princess-to-be, things like that are strictly prohibited. We wonder if she will be able to go with the flow and be tight-lipped like the rest of the royals, or if she will have a problem with this rule. Someone who is used to being so outspoken probably won't be silenced so easily.
It's so easy to get caught up with the excitement of a royal wedding, but don't forget that there is a life after the nuptials are over, and it comes with a whole new set of rules. Find out about what Meghan Markle will be forbidden from doing after she marries Prince Harry. But first, be sure to subscribe for more from the taco. Let's get started. Social media. For a long time, Meghan Markle was a prominent figure on social media. As a successful actress who loved to travel, she amassed a rather large following on Instagram. She even had her own lifestyle website known as The Tig. In fact, when Meghan Markle started dating Prince Harry, her social media blew up even more. At first, we got hints about their budding romance, but just when things were getting good, we had the rug pulled out from under us. See, one of the many rules about being a member of the royal family is that you can't have a personal social media account. This means that in addition to closing out her social media accounts, she also had to say goodbye to the Tig. Members of the royal family use a social media manager to update their official royal profiles, but they aren't allowed to manage their own accounts. When she closed down her Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts, she expressed gratitude for her followers but stated that it was time to move on. Many fans of the royal family feel that this royal restriction is a bit old-fashioned and wonder if it might be relaxed at some point in the future. Autographs. As part of being an actress, we imagine that Meghan Markle has signed a ton of autographs over the course of her career. And considering that she's now going to be a member of the royal family, we're sure that many fans would love a chance to get an autograph from Meghan Markle. But sadly, they won't be allowed as soon as Meghan Markle ties the knot with Prince Harry. No members of the royal family are permitted to give autographs to members of the public. It sounds like a bit of a weird rule, but there is actually a very sensible reason why autographs are forbidden. Royal family members can't give autographs to members of the public because they want to reduce the odds of their signature being forged. However, there are some exceptions to this rule, although they are rare. When Prince Charles was visiting flood victims, he encountered Tony and Meg Hendy, who had lost their home in the disaster. They asked him for an autograph, and he broke protocol by writing Charles 2010. Meghan may have found a way around the no autographs rule also. When approached by a young fan named Caitlin, Meghan simply wrote "Hi Caitlin" on a piece of paper. That's the best she will be able to do as a member of the royal family. Politics. Back when Meghan Markle was allowed to maintain social media accounts, she occasionally used them to express her political opinions. During one United States election, she made no secret about her support of presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. She also talked frequently about her feelings on Brexit and generally shared her political opinions with her fan base. However, she won't be able to publicly express political opinions anymore after she gets married to Prince Harry. Members of the royal family are forbidden from publicly expressing their political views. The Queen in particular is expected to remain completely neutral on political matters, and this includes voting in elections. The rules regarding the Queen are quite strict, and her family members follow her lead regarding this. Meghan Markle won't be allowed to express her political opinions, let alone vote in any elections. Considering the fact that Meghan Markle was so used to expressing her passionate political opinions, we can imagine that this will be a difficult transition for her. So, what is she supposed to do with all of her political feelings? Members of the royal family are expected expected to channel their political feelings into their charity work. If Meghan does this, she might just become the most charitable member of the royal family. Career. When Meghan Markle first began dating Prince Harry, tongues were wagging because of her acting career and modeling job. It's easy to see why appearing on a salacious show like Suits is a no-no for a member of the royal family, but she's expected to give up her entire acting career. Not only would acting be a controversial career choice for a royal family member, there is also the issue of time. Many people think that the royal family just sits around sipping tea, but the truth is that they have very full schedules. Her brother-in-law Prince William used to have a full-time job as a pilot for the East Anglian Air Ambulance at Cambridge Airport. It's no secret that he loved being a pilot, but he soon realized that he just didn't have the time to do so professionally. The Queen needed his help with royal duties, so he was forced to resign from his position. So it's likely that even if Meghan Markle was allowed to continue acting, she simply wouldn't have the time necessary to do so. At least she won't have to worry about what to do for money. When Prince William was employed, he donated his entire salary to charity since he didn't need it. Traveling. There was a time when Meghan Markle couldn't get enough of traveling. Don't worry, the royal family isn't going to confiscate her passport, but traveling will have some additional difficulties now. It will no longer be possible for Meghan to just grab a couple of pals and jet off for a long weekend somewhere sunny. Traveling as a member of the royal family is extremely complicated because of the stringent security measures that are put in place. If you were envious of royal tours like the one that Prince William and Kate Middleton went on, don't be. They take about 6 months of planning, and security experts refer to them as logistical nightmares. The royals have a jam-packed schedule, giving them just over half an hour at sites that they visit. Forget about sipping drinks poolside as well. When Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall travel, they bring their own alcohol to make sure that their drinks don't get spiked. Their bodyguards actually have to carry around containers of their favorite drinks, gin and tonic for Prince Charles and red wine for Camilla. Security isn't an option for members of the royal family, and the royal security team can definitely cramp your vacation plans. BOUQUET. Meghan Markle is a huge animal lover and has 2 dogs that she's been seemingly very devoted to. While perhaps she and Queen Elizabeth bonded over their love of canines, Meghan is having to make a huge sacrifice when she marries Harry. At one time, Meghan owned 2 rescue dogs whom she had adopted. She had a beagle named Guy and a lab shepherd mix named BOUQUET. According to Meghan's friends, she has always treated her dogs like her children. No way would these 2 be relegated to the floor at bedtime. Meghan let them share her bed with her and fed them only the highest quality organic food. Reportedly, when Meghan traveled in the past, she would even ask her sitters to let her beloved dogs FaceTime with her. To pet lovers, it can seem inconceivable that someone would give up a pet for a new romantic partner. But when it came time for her to move, Meghan knew that she would have to leave her old friend BOUQUET behind. Because of his advanced age, she doesn't feel like the old boy would be up to making the trip overseas. Some people have even speculated that it's because he's an undistinguished mutt and it wouldn't appear proper for a member of the royal family to own such a dog. Dinner time. Meghan Markle has likely been to many dinner parties in her time, but she's going to have to get used to a whole new set of rules. Gone are the days when she can make her food last as long as she likes. Now at dinner, nobody is allowed to continue eating once the Queen is done. A palace steward stands behind the Queen at dinner and waits until she's finished. Once that happens, he signals for the table to be cleared immediately. She also won't be able to choose her own seat at the dinner table since seating is arranged by order of precedence. For royal dinner parties, there's actually an entire office dedicated to just organizing dinner guests. And you thought your job was dull. As an actress, Meghan has probably been to plenty of fancy dinners, but nothing like this. All of the cutlery and dishes are the very best and have long histories of being used in the royal family. Dropping a fork or shattering a dish are much bigger sins when dining with the royal family. Many people love having big family dinners, but it's hard to not imagine dining with the royal family as anything other than a stressful experience. Dress code. The days of attending events without covering up her hair with a hat are almost over for Meghan Markle. The Queen is almost never spotted without one, but all women in the royal family must wear hats on official occasions. This rule dates way back since before the 1950s, women rarely showed off their hair in public. Although the rest of the population has moved on from this, the royal family follows proper rules which set them apart from the general population. If the event occurs indoors, the hats come off at 6 p.m. sharp. Then, if you are able to, you can replace it with the formal tiara. In the royal family, only women who are married are allowed to wear tiaras. Once Meghan Markle officially marries Prince Harry, she will be able to swap out her hat for a sparkling tiara in the evening. Dressing modestly and appropriate for the occasion are sensible and unsurprising royal family rules. Showing off some cleavage is a huge no, but there are ways around this. Princess Diana would famously use her clutch to shield her chest when exiting and entering vehicles. It definitely wouldn't be proper for a member of the royal family to experience a wardrobe malfunction. Monopoly. We know that Meghan Markle is going to have to memorize a ton of rules before her next royal dinner party. We also know that their royal business takes up a ton of time, so how do they relax and enjoy family time? Well, for some families, nothing is more fun than a good old-fashioned family board game night. The royal family does enjoy playing games, but there is one that has been banned from the royal family board game rotation. This created an embarrassing moment when Prince Andrew was gifted the game while visiting the headquarters of the Leeds Building Society. He had to explain that out of all possible board games, the royal family is forbidden from playing Monopoly. Apparently, the royal family is just like the rest of us in that they can't play Monopoly without fighting viciously with one another. So hopefully Meghan Markle isn't a huge fan of this classic Hasbro game. Thankfully, there are plenty of other board games out there available to play. It's even kind of fun to imagine which royal family members might enjoy playing which games. Is Kate Middleton a champ at Chutes and Ladders? Christmas. It was huge news when Kate Middleton and Prince William took their kids to her parents' house for Christmas. That's because there are some super strict rules about what the royal family does for the holiday. As a new member, Meghan Markle won't be able to spend Christmas morning unwrapping presents under the tree. That's because the royal family unwraps all of their gifts the night before on Christmas Eve. Their Christmas day is so jam-packed with activities that they can't spare a moment to open up their presents. Instead of waiting for Christmas dinner, the family generally has a big family lunch. That's after they get back from attending morning church service, of course. First, there's the 9 a.m. service, which is a private one held just for the royal family. After a quick trip home and a change of clothes, they're back at church for the 11 a.m. public service. If you want to sing hymns beside the royal family on Christmas, you'll need to pass a security check and apply some time during the fall season. There's also the famous Queen's Christmas message, which is a big deal for the royal family and for the public. While many families may overindulge on eggnog and candy on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve is the day when the royals let loose. On Christmas Day, there is just too much to be done. Do you think that you could give up all of these things in order to join the royal family? Let us know whether you'd make a good royal in the comments section below. We already know that Meghan Markle has had to delete her social media per order of the Queen. But what other royal rules are there? When it comes to weddings, there are a ton of rules she has to obey if she wants to be a member of the royal family. We'll let you know what to expect from Meghan Markle's upcoming wedding. But first, be sure to subscribe to the latest from the taco. On to the nuptials. The Queen. Unsurprisingly, Queen Elizabeth II plays a huge role in the upcoming wedding plans. Before he could even propose, Prince Harry had to get permission from his grandmother. While most other grooms-to-be are worried about asking the father of their intended, Prince Harry had to get the Queen's sign-off. And when it comes to sending out wedding invitations, that's up to the Queen entirely. That's right, Meghan Markle won't be licking stamps or examining paper samples. The Queen sends out invitations for royal weddings, all bearing her insignia. Each invitation will start with the inscription, "The Lord Chamberlain is commanded by the Queen to invite." They'll also specify the dress code, which we are guessing will be pretty formal. But even if you're a commoner who gets invited, don't think you'll be rubbing elbows with Her Majesty. During the ceremony, the royal side will be sitting on a different side of the church than the rest of the guests. Having a dedicated bride and groom side during the ceremony is becoming less common, but not when it comes to a royal family. While Prince William and Kate Middleton had about 1,900 guests at their wedding, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will probably have about half that. They'll be married at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, which has a much smaller capacity. So that's less invitations that the Queen has to worry about. Bouquet. For most people, the bouquet is the most cherished of all bridal accessories. After all, how often do you get to just carry around a stunning floral arrangement? But Meghan Markle won't need to start a Pinterest page for her ideas, because her bouquet is pretty much selected for her. Each bouquet carried at the royal wedding needs to contain a sprig of myrtle from a specific bush that's over a century old. The tradition started with Princess Victoria in 1840 and is still going strong. Naturally, it was incorporated into the bouquet of Kate Middleton at her 2 2011 ceremony. Myrtle symbolizes good fortune in love and marriage, so it's a fitting addition to a bridal bouquet. The plant itself was a gift to Queen Victoria from the grandmother of her husband, Prince Albert. It grew in Germany before being transported to the Isle of Wight. In addition to the myrtle, it's expected that the bouquet will be comprised of primarily white flowers. Afterwards, the new royal bride is expected to do something very specific with her bouquet. It is to be laid at the tomb of the unknown warrior in Westminster Abbey. This tradition has been in place since the late Queen Elizabeth I. She did so to honor the late brother of her new husband, King George VI, who passed away in World War I. Cake. Nowadays, so many people opt for donuts, cannolis, or other desserts instead of a traditional and expensive wedding cake. But obviously, cost is not a concern for the royal family, and tradition is of the utmost importance. There is a traditional wedding cake flavor, and we don't blame you if you cringe when you learn what it is. It's fruitcake. But don't expect the tough, dry fruit cake you're used to seeing at family gatherings. Even Prince William and Kate Middleton's $80,000 wedding cake was a fruitcake under all that icing. During the Middle Ages, fruitcakes were served at feasts and other important occasions. It featured things that were hard to come by at the time, including fruit, spices, and liquor, and it preserves well. It became a symbol of wealth and prosperity, which makes it fitting for a royal wedding. And what's better than one fruitcake? Two fruitcakes. A groom's cake is also served at royal weddings, and of course the flavor is also fruitcake. Since Meghan Markle teased about her relationship with Prince Harry with a photo of bananas, it's kind of fitting that they'll be enjoying fruitcake on their special day. They also traditionally save the top tier for the christening of their first child. Pre-wedding parties. Bachelor and bachelorette parties are supposed to be one last hurrah for the new couple. They're typically associated with drinking and debauchery, which are two things we don't associate with the royal family. But rest assured, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will have their parties, as long as they play by the rules, of course. Unfortunately, we won't have any idea what's going on since they are highly guarded and extremely secret. What happens in Vegas may not always stay in Vegas, but what happens at a royal bachelor party is never known by outsiders. When Prince William had his bachelor party, it was behind a walled-off country estate. Meanwhile, Kate Middleton had her bachelorette party at an undisclosed location. Her sister Pippa reportedly booked multiple hotel rooms just to throw paparazzi off their trail. More and more, these types of parties have become affairs that last an entire weekend, but not so in this case. Although we obviously don't know the details, etiquette experts predict that they're likely only a few hours long. They also believe that they're probably more restrained than traditional affairs.
Boring!
While that might be true, it's way more fun to imagine the royals throwing a ruckus party behind closed doors. Bridal party. In America, we tend to think of the members of our bridal party as our nearest and dearest. This is true in England as well. The bridal party just tends to be a bit younger. Okay, a lot younger. In fact, when Pippa was the maid of honor for Kate Middleton, that was a huge break in tradition. It also made Pippa the oldest member of a royal wedding party in recent history at the age of 27. But perhaps to make up for it, she also had a group of even younger than normal children. Typically, kids in the bridal party are about 10 to 12 years old. However, Kate Middleton was accompanied by Grace Van Cutsem and Eliza Lopez, both age 3, in addition to Lady Louise Windsor, age 7, and Margarita Armstrong-Jones, age 8. And of course, that's in addition to the flower girls and page boys that will naturally be a part of the wedding. Some people love being surrounded by children, but to others it seems like a wedding nightmare. It's also traditional for them to wear white or other light colors that most brides would cringe at. Rings. When it comes to wedding bands, royal tradition takes a lot of the guesswork out of selecting them. Surprisingly, this beloved tradition isn't as old as many others that the family has to adhere to. It began when the Queen Mother married the Duke of York back in 1923. The pair used pure Welsh gold to create their rings. Saying that this gold is rare is an understatement. It came from the Clogau St. David gold mine, which was located in Dolgellau, Wales. We use the past tense there since it's no longer in operation, but while it was up and running, it was the most productive gold mine in the country, even making it into the Guinness Book of World Records. Since the mine is now defunct, this makes the gold from it even more precious and expensive.
I love gold!
Princess Margaret, Princess Anne, Princess Diana, Prince Charles, and the Duchess of Cornwall all have bands made of this Welsh gold, and we'd be surprised if the next royal couple didn't follow suit, especially since Meghan Markle's engagement ring features heirloom gems. It contains 2 diamonds from the late Princess Diana's collection and a central diamond from Botswana. Clogau gold typically has a pinkish tint to it, and the royal family tends to prefer their wedding bands on the plain side. Religion. Many people tend to think of the royal family as being obsessed with tradition, but they are actually flexible on some things. It's not at all unheard of for them to change their rules to adapt to modern times, and this is one such situation. When Meghan Markle began dating Prince Harry, tongues began wagging because she had been divorced. But divorce is no longer a dirty word in the royal family, and indeed Prince Charles divorced Princess Diana before marrying Camilla, who is also a divorcee. For a long time, the only thing worse for marrying a royal than having been divorced was being Roman Catholic. The history behind this seemingly arbitrary rule is actually quite interesting. The reigning monarch is technically the head of the Church of England, which is a Protestant Anglican church. Thus, it makes sense that the reigning monarch needs to also be a Protestant Anglican. This has been the case ever since it was established by Henry VIII in the 16th century. The last Catholic monarch to reign was Mary Tudor, and let's just say her rule didn't go well for Protestants. In 1701, it was declared that marrying a Roman Catholic meant you were abdicating your right to the throne. However, in 2015, an amendment was made. Now members of the royal family can marry someone who is Roman Catholic, however, that person still can't become monarch. This means that raising royal children in that faith would disqualify them from someday inheriting the throne. Dress. While we know that white wedding dresses are traditional, many of us don't know why. In fact, for much of history, it was common to wear colorful clothes on your wedding day. This tradition goes back to 1840 and Queen Victoria, as so many royal traditions do. However, the first British royal to wear a white gown was Mary, Queen of Scots, when she wed Francis Dauphin in 1559. Back then, much like today, weddings were a time to dress your best, and that often meant lavish gowns and rich colors. It just so happened that white was her favorite color, but the trend didn't catch on until Queen Victoria's time. Queen Victoria wanted to show off some prized white lace, so designed her gown around it. Her photos were widely publicized and were a stark contrast to the elaborate and extravagant dresses of that time. Wedding dresses were thought of as something you would wear multiple times, so wearing an easily dirtied color such as white was a strange idea. Because of that, spending money on a white dress became as much of a symbol of wealth and luxury as wearing furs and jewels. And wearing a white or off-white gown is still a tradition in the royal family and many other families today. Tiara. Many non-royal brides opt to wear a tiara on their wedding day since it's pretty much the only time it's socially acceptable. But the royal family has rules about who is and who isn't allowed to wear this sparkling headpiece. In order to wear one, you need to either be married or it needs to be your wedding day. Gaining the ability to wear a tiara is an odd side effect of marriage, but we'll take it. And if you're in the royal family, you won't have to buy a tiara from a bridal boutique. The palace has an enormous collection of tiaras in addition to the fact that many wealthy families have their own heirloom tiara. Even royal brides who are quite distant from the throne have been known to wear one for their special day, such as Lady Melissa Percy, who wore the Northumberland tiara for her wedding to Thomas Van Straubenzee. Of course, there are a few people who decided to eschew the tiara tradition. Perhaps most notably, Camilla wore a feather headdress instead of a tiara to her wedding. But will Meghan Markle wear a tiara? She does have her own sense of style, but we can't imagine her turning down the chance to borrow a royal tiara for the day. Bills. Planning a wedding can be wonderful, but the least fun part is dealing with the bill. Traditionally, the bride's family pays for the wedding, but that's falling out of favor even among us commoners. But when it comes to the royal family, they're the ones footing the bill regardless of whether the bride or groom is a member. This certainly makes sense considering the restrictions and lavish expectations of a royal wedding. And although the exact costs aren't made public, many royal liaisons have stated that the costs are in the six-figure range. The royal family also has a home field advantage since the receptions will be taking place at Buckingham Palace. The staff there are quite used to catering to large events and making them cost-effective as well as fabulous. In case you were wondering if the burden of this wedding will fall to the taxpayers, the answer is mostly no. However, the security for the day will be one of the things that citizens will most likely be responsible for helping out with. To add to the expense, there will likely be not one, but two receptions, a breakfast or lunch reception and then another dinner reception later in the evening.
We all know Meghan Markle as the actress who plays the role of Rachel Zane on Suits. But do you really know anything else about Prince Harry's soon-to-be wife? Lucky for you, we dug up some cool facts about her to give you a mini crash course dedicated to everything Meghan. Make sure to keep watching until the end to see if she plans to keep up her successful acting career once she becomes a royal. Before we get started, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more on your favorite celebrities. Now, here's 20 things you didn't know about Meghan Markle. Schooling. Meghan Markle was born in Los Angeles on August 4, 1981. She went to a private primary school called Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse, where Elizabeth Taylor was once a student. She was then enrolled into a prestigious all-girl Catholic high school that costs a hefty $16,000 a year to attend. When Meghan decided to pursue a degree in higher education, she attended Northwestern University in Illinois. She admits that she was a complete theater nerd in school but hated the idea of just being another cliché girl from LA who's trying to be an actress. So she chose to double major in both theater and international relations. Meghan was also the first person in her family to graduate from college. Feminist. We bet that you didn't know that Meghan has been advocating for women's rights since she was just a little girl. When she was only 11 years old, Meghan was shocked when she saw a dish soap commercial that ended with the tagline, "Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans." She was so hurt by the sexist notion that women belonged in the kitchen that she went home and wrote a letter to Hillary Clinton. A media host even sent a camera crew over to Meghan's house to cover her outrage. A month later, the company in question actually changed the tagline from women to people. It was then that Meghan realized that the smallest action can still create positive change. Papa Markle. If you've been wondering what influenced Meghan to pursue a life in the entertainment biz, look no further than her dad. Thomas Markle is a former television lighting director who's worked on shows like General Hospital and Married with Children. Meghan said that she often visited her dad on set when she was younger and was surrounded by famous actors and multi-million-dollar budgets. Her father was so talented that he even won a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Lighting Direction for a drama series for his work on General Hospital back in 2011. Working on that series in particular was life-changing for Thomas because it was where he first met Meghan's mother, Doria. Mama Markle. Meghan's parents were from two completely different worlds, which is what probably caused them to divorce when Meghan was only 6 years old. While her dad worked on fancy TV shows, her mother was a yoga instructor and a social worker. Doria Ragland used to take her daughter to visit the slums in Jamaica and Mexico to show her the harsh realities of the world. Meghan credits her mom for raising her to be a good global citizen and describes Doria as a free-spirited clinical therapist. It seems that her fiancé Prince Harry gets along great with Doria too. He even once flew her out to Toronto so that she could join him and Meghan at the 2017 Invictus Games. Racism. Did you know that Meghan Markle will soon be the first biracial person to ever marry a senior British royal? Growing up with a Caucasian father and an African-American mother, Meghan has dealt with issues of racism her entire life. Since she was a very pale-skinned baby, her mother was often confused to be her nanny by others. Meghan even once witnessed a stranger call her mom the N-word after she didn't pull out of a parking spot quick enough. Being biracial became even more difficult for Meghan in the acting industry. She could audition for any role because she was ethnically ambiguous, but she was never black enough for the black roles or white enough for the white roles. Lottery. We know that we're not the only ones who thought that Meghan won the lottery of life once she became engaged to Prince Harry. But did you know that her father won the actual lottery back in 1990 when she was just 9 years old? Meghan's half-brother was the one to reveal to the media that Tom Sr. had won an estimated $750,000 back in California. The sudden cash flow changed their lives forever and allowed Meghan to get the best possible training as an actress. Meghan must be carrying around a horseshoe at all times because her life seems to always be full of lucky events. From winning the lottery to marrying a prince, she's definitely living the dream. Divorcee. Did you know that Meghan is a divorcee? She was actually married to film producer Trevor Engelson for almost 2 years. Meghan and Trevor had been together for 6 years before getting engaged, but their irreconcilable differences tore them apart in the end. These two ex-lovebirds were married in a romantic ceremony in Jamaica and had their wedding celebrations take place over 4 days. Fox just greenlit a show produced by Trevor that follows the life of a man who must share custody of his child with his ex-wife. It sounds like a normal enough plotline, except for the fact that the ex-wife marries a British prince. Does that sound super familiar to you? Name change. Did you know that Meghan is not really her first name? Her full name is actually Rachel Meghan Markle, but she probably thought that Meghan Markle made a better stage name. But what will she be called when she finally marries Prince Harry? Amongst the royal family, she will officially be known as Her Royal Highness Prince Harry of Wales. That's because only those who were born into the royal family can formally use the title of prince or princess, followed by their first name. However, royal experts speculate that Harry might soon take up the role of Duke of Sussex. This change in title would then make Meghan the Duchess of Sussex. Calligraphy. Did you know that Meghan Markle worked as a calligrapher before she made it big time as an actress? This Suits star said that she developed a knack for cursive because of the handwriting class that she took for 6 years back in high school. Instead of waiting tables on the side, like most struggling artists, Meghan used to do calligraphy for weddings and events. She previously said that handwritten notes are a lost art form and thinks that there's something special about taking the time to put pen to paper. Meghan did the calligraphy for her wedding invites of Robin Thicke and even used to be the calligrapher for Dolce & Gabbana's holiday celebrity correspondence. Deal or no deal? When you're first starting out as an actor, you'll literally take any paid opportunity that comes your way. Meghan may be a star now, but she definitely knows what it's like to have a struggling career in the arts. In fact, Meghan used to work as a deal or no deal suitcase model. She said that while she looked very glamorous on stage, she was very uncomfortable in the 5-inch heels that she had to wear. She would spend the entire time hoping that her number would be picked soon so that she could go sit down. Meghan admits that working on this show was an eye-opener for her because it helped her to realize what she really wanted to do with her life. Blind date. Now that Meghan and Prince Harry are engaged, we thought that it would be a good idea to talk about how they first met. These cuties were actually introduced to each other by a mutual friend. Meghan is good friends with designer Misha Nonu, who used to be married to one of Harry's old school friends. Misha set them up on a blind date because she thought that they would be perfect for each other. Meghan has even admitted that she didn't really know anything about the royal family before their first date. She didn't care much for his prestigious background though, and was more interested in knowing if he was a kind person. Perfect nose. It's not unusual for clients of cosmetic surgeons to bring in pictures of their favorite celebrities. Meghan's face is pretty perfect, so we can understand how some people might lust over her beautiful features. But we had no idea that she was one of the top requests for cosmetic surgeons like Dr. Stephen T. Greenberg. Patients come to him all the time asking for Meghan's nose. In Dr. Greenberg's opinion, the beauty of her nose is that it's not perfect. He says that she has a slight dorsal hump on it, which is not something that most nose job patients want. There also seems to be a direct relationship between the growing requests for her nose and the seriousness of her relationship with Harry. Already royal. Harry is a prince who grew up in London, while Meghan is an actress who was born in LA. Their lives seem so different, but it turns out that they may have more in common than we all previously thought. According to a genealogical report, Meghan and Harry's family trees crossed paths briefly back in the 15th century. This means that they're actually distant cousins. The report found that Meghan's father is a distant relative of Ralph Bowes, the High Sheriff of County Durham, whose grandson moved to the US in 1632. The Bowes that remained in the US married into the Lyon family, and the Lyon family eventually married into the royal family. We had no idea that Meghan was already royal. Rescue dogs. Meghan is the proud owner of 2 adorable rescue dogs named Bogart and Guy. She never had dogs while she was growing up, but Ellen DeGeneres was the one who convinced her to adopt her first one. She didn't personally know Ellen at the time, but happened to be at a dog rescue shelter at the same time as her. Ellen saw her holding Bogart in her arms and told her that she had to rescue the dog. When Ellen was outside of the shelter on the way to her car, she even turned back around and yelled at Meghan to take the dog. So Meghan brought him home that day because Ellen DeGeneres told her to. Lifestyle blogger. Did you know that Meghan used to be a popular lifestyle blogger? Her blog was called The Tig, and Meghan described it as a hub for the discerning palate. Those with a hunger for food, travel, fashion, and beauty. She was inspired to start blogging after she tasted a wine called Tignanello, which is where the name of the blog came from. She sadly shut down the Tig back in 2017, but what we loved most about it was how down-to-earth she seemed in her posts. She once wrote, "It wasn't long ago that I only had $40 in my bank account, that I could barely book an audition, and that my circle of friends was even smaller." BFF. When we try to imagine the kinds of friends that Meghan surrounds herself with, we picture her hanging out with other famous actors. That's why we were surprised to learn that she's best friends with pro athlete Serena Williams. These two first met at the Direct TV flag football game and have been inseparable ever since. Meghan can often be seen rooting for Serena at her tennis games. She also revealed that the tennis pro is her confidant. Serena has even given Meghan advice on how to handle the extreme pressure that she's been dealing with since going public with Harry. These two are Def's friendship goals, and we can't wait to see Serena rooting Meghan on her big day. Beauty routine. If you're wondering what beauty products Meghan religiously uses to keep her skin looking perfect, then you're in for a treat. The top 5 products that she can't live without are her Shu Uemura eyelash curler, her Fresh Sugar lip treatment, her NARS blush, her Laura Mercier primer, and her Nivea body lotion. What we love about her go-to products is that they're all super affordable for the average person living on a budget. We also love that her favorite beauty secret is to simply drink a lot of water. Meghan is proof that you don't need to spend a lot of money on products to make your face look soft and dewy. Estranged siblings. Most people have trouble getting along with their siblings, but did you know that Meghan is estranged from her half-siblings? One of the reasons that she doesn't get along with her half-sister Samantha could be because Samantha is planning to write a tell-all book titled The Diary of Princess Pushy's Sister. Samantha was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis back in 2008 and told the press that Meghan has barely spoken to her since. As for Meghan's half-brother Thomas, he was arrested at the beginning of 2017 for allegedly holding a firearm up to a woman's head. We guess we'll just have to wait and see if Meghan will choose to invite them to her wedding or not. Roasted chicken. There's no secret that Meghan is a huge foodie. Her Instagram account is full of pictures of perfectly staged brunch dishes and fancy dinner spreads. But what we like most about her is that she seems to enjoy cooking at home more than she likes to eat out. In fact, her favorite dish to make herself is a perfectly roasted chicken. In her opinion, if you have an Ina Garten level roasted chicken recipe, it's a game changer. She must have really charmed Harry with her chicken making skills because he even proposed to her while they were in the process of roasting one for supper. We definitely hope that Meghan will one day share her winning recipe with the world. Quitting showbiz. Now that Meghan is officially going to be part of the royal family, it seems that she is done pursuing a career in the entertainment business. Right after her engagement to Prince Harry, Meghan announced that she would be leaving the hit TV show Suits after 7 seasons. But she's not really sad about it. When asked about giving up her career on BBC, she said, "I don't see it as giving anything up. I just see it as a change. It's a new chapter." Meghan plans to work more on different humanitarian projects now that she's going to be a royal. We think that Meghan made a valiant decision and can't wait to see what the future has in store for her.
We all know there are a ton of rules that the royal family has to follow. These include everything from what they can eat to what they can tweet. There are even some pretty crazy rules about what they're allowed to wear. We'll tell you about the fashion rules that the royal family is forced to follow. First, be sure to follow the taco by pressing the subscribe button. Let's begin. Colors. We love the fact that Queen Elizabeth II wears such fabulous outfits. Between her brilliantly bright colors and her giant hats, she always looks as if she's on her way to the Kentucky Derby. But there's a reason that she dresses in such an amazing rainbow of colors and encourages her royal family members to do the same. That's because when the royal family is out and about in public, she wants to make sure that they all stand out. When you're in a big crowd of people, it can be difficult to distinguish yourself. The Queen believes that if she wore more muted colors, it would make it harder for people to catch a glimpse of her. Strangely enough, this love of bright colors does not extend to nail polish. It's forbidden for royal family members to wear bright colors such as red on their nails. The Queen chooses to paint her nails in Essie's ballet slipper color when she wants to look especially fancy. Kate Middleton swears by the color Allure by the same brand, and even wore it on her wedding day. It's only a matter of time before we find out what Meghan Markle's favorite muted nail color will be. Children. Not even the adorable royal children are exempt from the fashion rules that the royal family has to follow. If you're a fan of sweet little Prince George, you've likely noticed that you never see the tot wearing a pair of trousers. There's a reason that he's always pictured wearing shorts, and that's because it signifies that he is a member of high society. For the upper class, boys wearing pants is seen as terribly suburban, according to etiquette experts. They're fine for men and older children, but Prince George probably won't get his first pair until he's at least 8 years old. It's a subtle marker of class to be sure, but an important one in many social circles, including that of the royal family. Princess Charlotte may be even younger, but even she isn't immune to the fashion rules of the royal family. She must always be dressed properly, and when she's on royal tours or visits, you'll see her dressed in the brightest of colors. Even though she's not quite old enough to dress herself, her parents make sure that she dresses in a way that Queen Elizabeth would approve of. Sadly, she'll miss out on the teenage girl rite of passage of wearing tons of glittery nail polish. Tights. Once upon a time, it was unthinkable that a woman would venture outside without wearing a pair of stockings. But nowadays, most of us aren't afraid to go out with bare legs. However, the women of the royal family wouldn't dare step out in public without sporting a pair of tights. Yes, this rule is literally constricting, but it's one of the few hard and fast rules that they have to follow. Some fashion edicts allow a little wiggle room, but not this one. All royal women are required to cover their legs with tights when they are out in public. Kate Middleton is a huge fan of John Lewis 7 Denier Barely There tights. If you want to cover your legs like a member of the royal family, you'll be relieved to know that you can grab a pair of these for only about $7.50. Although a black or colored pair of tights is acceptable, the most common color that you'll see the royal women wear is nude. Scandalously enough, we've noticed that Meghan Markle isn't shy about appearing in public with bare legs. Only time will tell if she'll follow this important rule once married, or if she'll stand up and defy the queen by shunning tights. Tiaras. Unless it's part of a Halloween costume or you're feeling a bit extra on your wedding day, most women don't have many occasions to don a tiara. Of course, we don't have as much access to the number of exquisite tiaras that the royal family does, but still. However, there are very strict rules about who is allowed to wear a tiara and when. Basically, if you're a single lady intended to be married to a royal, you aren't allowed to wear a tiara, so you'll have to find a new tacky accessory for your bachelorette party. Sorry, Meghan Markle, even little royal children aren't allowed to wear a tiara. The honor is strictly reserved for brides on their wedding days, or already married royal women on special occasions. A tiara is an important symbol of royal affiliation, and merely being engaged to a member of the royal family isn't enough to earn you the right to wear one. Until you're ready to make the walk down the aisle, you better not even think about putting a tiara on your head. It also acts as a sign that a woman is officially off the market and not looking for potential suitors. Signaling. While wearing a tiara or not can denote your marital status, it isn't the only royal accessory that can convey a message. Have you ever wondered why Queen Elizabeth feels the need to carry around a purse with her wherever she goes? After all, she doesn't need to have a driver's license or a passport like the rest of us, and probably has a servant in charge of her more mundane items. Her personal bag is used to convey a wide variety of signals to her staff, making this an especially important fashion rule. Let's say that it's dinner time and the Queen is getting ready to wrap things up. In order to let staff know that they should get ready to begin clearing plates, the Queen will set her handbag on the table. This lets everyone know that they have about 5 minutes to scarf down their food before dinner is officially over. If the Queen is stuck in a boring conversation, she will set her handbag on the floor. This lets one of her ladies-in-waiting know that she is over the current situation and needs a polite and discreet rescue. That sounds like the kind of clever idea we might want to incorporate into our own social life. Mourning clothes. Considering the fact that they are so wealthy, it seems like members of the royal family can probably buy whatever they might need on the go. But there is one specific outfit that they must always carry with them, no matter where or how they are traveling around the globe. Members of the royal family always have to carry around a mourning outfit comprised of black clothes. Especially since they're usually spotted wearing such bright colors, it simply wouldn't do to be seen wearing such things if a tragedy had occurred. The royal family is under intense scrutiny, so even being spotted for a moment in a non-appropriate outfit would be a huge scandal. You might think that this is one of those crazy rules that will never come into play, but it totally has. In 1952, the Queen was visiting Kenya with Prince Philip when she received the tragic news that her beloved father had passed away. She hadn't packed appropriate mourning clothes, so she was forced to wait in her plane on the runway until a suitable outfit could be brought to her. It was an embarrassing situation, and one that she's determined no other royal family member will be forced to experience because of poor planning. Cleavage bags. It's probably one of the least shocking aspects of life as a member of the royal family, but the Queen frowns on excessive displays of cleavage. It's simple enough to wear garments with a high neck, but that isn't all that the royal family does in order to prevent an accidental flash of something indecent. We told you that the Queen uses her handbags in order to send messages to her staff, but other royal women use their bags in an entirely different way. Have you ever noticed that many royal women seem to have a clutch in their hands? When Princess Diana was alive, she was one of the most photographed people in the entire world. She was always carrying around a clutch too small to hold much, but they served an extremely important purpose. She called them her cleavage bags, and she used them to make sure that she never showed off more skin than she intended. When she would step out of a vehicle, she made sure to bring up her clutch enough to hide anything that might bring shame upon the royal family. It sounds kind of silly, but it worked like a charm. Hats. We already know that there are a lot of rules surrounding the practice of wearing tiaras, but what about regular hats? You have probably noticed that Queen Elizabeth is a huge fan of hats, and is almost always seen wearing one. That actually has to do with an old etiquette rule that she still follows to this day. Prior to the 1950s, proper ladies were seldom seen without a hat on their heads in public. Showing their hair in public was just a bit too scandalous, so naturally the Queen would have kept hers hidden away. While the younger generations may not have grown up with this rule, it's one one that the Queen still follows. However, there is a time and a place, and there's actually a cutoff time for wearing hats for the royal family. If you're a female member of the royal family wearing a hat indoors, you must remove it by 6 p.m. sharp. It seems like an arbitrary rule, but there is some method behind the madness. Forcing women to remove their hats gives them an excuse to pop on that fabulous tiara. Of course, as long as you're married or it's your wedding day. Gloves. Most of us don't even think about wearing gloves unless it's cold out, or we need them for our job. But if you're a member of the royal family, following this fashion rule is pretty much a part of your occupation. In addition to making them look even more rich and fancy than they already do, there is a very important reason why many members don a pair of gloves during public outings. Royal family members spend a lot of time shaking hands and greeting people when they are out and about. This earns them love from the public, but can be rough on the hands. Most people have hands that are dirty and covered with germs. And naturally, royal family members don't want to be exposed to such things skin to skin. Gloves are also a great way to hide some of your flaws. Princess Diana started wearing gloves to hide the fact that she had the bad habit of biting her fingernails. The Queen likes to keep her arms hidden, so she purchases gloves that extend to just underneath her sleeve. To wear them properly, you must remove them before you start eating any type of food. You should pull them off finger by finger, and then rest them underneath your napkin on your lap at the dinner table. Propriety. Of course, the members of the royal family always need to appear proper in public. They just take doing so to the next level. You've probably noticed that Kate Middleton wears a ton of enviable coats. These are gorgeous and sell out in minutes whenever she steps out in one, but you'll never see her shedding that outer layer. For some royal reason, taking off your coat is determined to be an unladylike action, and it's only to be done in the privacy of your own home. So, if Kate Middleton grabs a coat for a day out, she's making a huge commitment, since she can't take it off if she changes her mind. When it comes to shoes, royal women know better than to wear wedge-style shoes in front of the Queen. They can get away with slipping into a pair on occasion, but apparently the Queen just can't stand them for whatever reason. Wearing heels is encouraged for female members of the royal family, but only to a certain extent. It's important that their heels are kept to a proper and manageable height.
We all know the royal family has a huge number of rules they're expected to follow, but did you know there is a reason you won't ever see Meghan Markle wearing red nail polish at any time soon? We'll let you in on some of the seemingly strange beauty rules that members of the royal family must obey. But first, make sure that you hit the subscribe button to get the latest videos from the taco. Let's get started. Nail polish. Apparently, wearing brightly colored nail polish simply won't do for women in the royal family. When going in for a manicure, they are forced to choose from neutral or light colors. But just because they need to choose something quite specific doesn't mean they need to spend big bucks on special royal nail polish. In fact, Queen Elizabeth swears by Essie nail polish in the color ballet slippers. Reportedly, she owns tons of bottles just to make absolutely certain that she never runs out. Kate Middleton took her cue from her grandmother-in-law and selected a similar Essie shade in Allure. So when Meghan Markle gets her nails done, you can bet that she won't be picking up a bold shade. According to manicurist Carla Kay, ballet slippers is a great choice because it pairs well with all skin tones. We can see why the Queen wouldn't want her family members wearing obscenely long fake nails painted garish colors, but condemning everyone to nudes and pale pinks just seems a bit harsh. It remains to be seen whether Meghan Markle will choose the same nail polish as the Queen or find her own favorite shade within the rules. Simple face. Considering that members of the royal family are only allowed to wear certain colors of nail polish, you can probably guess how strict the makeup rules are. Women in the royal family are expected to keep their makeup simple. You won't see any of them wearing anything more extreme than a subtle smoky eye. Kate Middleton prefers wearing a few swipes of eyeliner, minimal eyeshadow, and a pale pink or nude lipstick. Meghan Markle has kept her makeup simple and within the rules, although she did make a daring move one day for lunch with the Queen. Many devoted fans of the royal family gasped in horror when she wore a shiny lip gloss to take her meal with the Queen. That's definitely a major violation of this royal beauty rule, but maybe she got a pass for being the family's newest member. Or maybe Queen Elizabeth remembered her own wild streak. Back in 1952, she was getting ready for her coronation and wanted a special lipstick for the occasion. She commissioned the brand Clarins to create a red lipstick to match her robes for the day. The brand still holds a royal warrant, so if you want to look like a rebellious queen, you have that option even as a commoner. Hair. Women in the royal family do have some more freedom when it comes to their hair. They need to have it neat and polished at all times, but they're allowed to choose from plenty of hairstyles. Most of the time, they opt for simple, classic hairstyles, which makes sense given their status in busy lifestyles. But if they're attending a formal event, they'd better plan on adding a unique hair accessory. They wear hats and a great variety of them as well. A long time ago, it was considered extremely proper to wear hats for all notable occasions. While most people no longer follow that etiquette rule, the royal family persists. After all, part of what makes them so special is that they simply hold themselves to much higher standards than the rest of us do. Wearing a big glamorous hat can be fun, but you'd best not wear it past 6 o'clock in the evening. At that time, a lady must swap out her hat in favor of a tiara. If she meets the proper conditions, that is. Only married women or women currently getting married are allowed to wear tiaras in the royal family. That's why you see them wearing tiaras so often on their wedding days to mark the special occasion. Touch-ups. Before Meghan Markle joined the family, Kate Middleton represented the epitome of royal grace and beauty. She had been taking care of her own cosmetic needs since long before she joined the family and continued to do so. We love that she always keeps her makeup simple yet elegant and has established a fast and easy daily makeup routine. Many women aren't shy about pulling out a compact mirror in order to assess how well their makeup is holding up. Reapplying lipstick, fixing errant eyeliner, and dabbing at foundation are pretty standard and fast beauty fixes. But if you're a member of the royal family, it's considered positively unseemly to be spotted touching up your makeup in public. Doing your own makeup for an event can be a lot of pressure, but even more so when you'll be judged if you try to fix something later. Although the no bright lipstick rule might actually help here, since you're way less likely to notice some neutral lipstick if it accidentally gets on your teeth. Since their makeup has to stay pristine for hours at a time, it's essential that women in the royal family learn to use quality primers and makeup setting sprays. Color coordinated. It can be tough to put together the perfect outfit for a big event. It's even more challenging when you know that all eyes will be on you and you're representing your country. Now imagine having to do that many times over. Just ask Kate Middleton, who is to carefully coordinate both her outfit and those of her husband and children. Check out the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge walking with George and Charlotte throughout the Berlin airport. They're each wearing a touch of blue, and this serves a very important purpose. The first thing is that it makes them appear more like a cohesive unit. Also, to further show how much thought went into this, they're dressed in the cornflower, which is Germany's national flower. So many times when you see a picture of Kate, William, and their children, you'll see them dressed in colors that subtly coordinate with one another. Not only does this look natural, but it adds a retro feeling to the ensemble. It's easy to feel nostalgic just looking at this wholesome royal family with their beautiful smiles and tasteful matching outfits. Purses. We all know Meghan Markle has defied royal tradition at times, but sometimes it's ways that are so subtle, only the most eagle-eyed person would notice. When she attended her first royal engagement event with Prince Harry, she was spotted carrying a burgundy and navy Stradbary tote bag. Women in the royal family are expected to carry small clutches instead of large purses with straps. There are a few practical reasons for this, and one is that it discourages people from trying to shake hands with members of the royal family. It may seem rude, but just think about the legions of people who would love to shake hands with them from day to day. Traditionally, it's considered impolite to reach out for a handshake with a member of the royal family, and having your hands full discourages people from trying. To avoid showing off more than they intend, women in the royal family employ what's used as a cleavage clutch. They strategically hold their clutch to their chest to keep things PG in front of their fans and cameras. Sheer beauty. We mentioned earlier that the royal family prefers to dress in traditional styles and observe antiquated standards of attire. When it comes to sheer clothing, women are always expected to have some covering their legs. Many people don't wear pantyhose anymore, but for the royal family, they're a must. This has been a royal family tradition for ages, and Queen Elizabeth has never been photographed without a trusty pair of pantyhose. Kate Middleton follows this rule, and her polished stockings have helped to bring them back in style. When we spotted Meghan Markle sans pantyhose, many people were shocked. Many wondered if she was simply unaware of the rule or made the conscious decision not to follow it. However, she did go sheer for her official engagement photos, which also had tongues wagging. Meghan Markle wore a sheer embroidered dress, which was a stark contrast to the conservative dress that Kate Middleton had worn for her engagement photos. All engagement outfits for professional photos need to be approved by the Queen first, which means the Queen had to have given her stamp of approval for this sheer outfit. Pants. You will always see her in pantyhose, but you're not likely to see Queen Elizabeth wearing a pair of jeans. Etiquette-wise, jeans are seen as an exceptionally casual article of clothing, which is why you will almost never see members of the royal family wearing them. Of course, context matters here. If they're simply out for a casual day or taking the dogs for a walk, jeans are no problem. We're used to seeing Kate Middleton wear the occasional pair of jeans, but they're always in great shape and fit her impeccably. When Meghan Markle was spotted wearing a pair of stylish ripped jeans, people were quite surprised. Not only was this look way too casual for a member of the royal family, but it broke some pretty important fashion rules. Meghan Markle will probably always be compared to her sister-in-law Kate Middleton. Since Kate has blazed the way with impeccable style, Meghan's outfits are placed under even more harsh scrutiny. Function and form. The royal family is expected to dress well, but there are a lot of practical things going on behind the scenes. We mentioned earlier that shiny lipsticks and glosses are against the rules, and it's not for any arbitrary reason. Any gloss fan knows that it's zero fun when your hair gets caught up in your lip gloss. And if you're a member of the royal family, you just know the cameras are going to capture that awkward moment, which occurs as you desperately try to unstick your hair from your lips. In 2011, we saw some photos of Kate Middleton dressed in a lovely yellow Jenny Packham dress, which unfortunately caught a bit of a breeze. This could have easily turned into a very embarrassing situation for the Duchess, but luckily the Queen has a solution for such incidences. According to one of her couturiers, the Queen has small weights sewn into the hems of her outfits. Unlike pretty much everything else about the Queen, these weights are nothing fancy. They're the same type that you would use to hold down curtains in your home, but they get the job done and prevent her clothes from blowing around in the wind. Gloves. There was a period of time in which members of the royal family were compelled to wear gloves at black tie events. It's no longer mandatory, but as a result, you'll typically see gloves worn especially for official engagements. The royal family ends up shaking hands and interacting with a wide variety of people, and that exposes them to a lot of germs. It wouldn't do to have them constantly ill, so wearing gloves is a quick and simple way to prevent spreading germs around with the public. If a member of the royal family does decide to wear gloves to a formal event, there are even more rules about how they should be worn properly. You can see them on while traveling to an event, shaking hands, standing in a receiving line, or dancing. If you want to snack on some appetizers, you need to take your gloves off. They also shouldn't be worn at the dinner table, which makes sense because of the whole germ thing. To remove your gloves in a proper royal way, pull them off finger by finger, then simply sit them atop your lap and enjoy your meal.
Every family has their own traditions that they follow, but their traditions probably don't come close to the rules the royal family has to follow. They've passed down their traditions for centuries, from generation to generation. Just wait until you hear the interesting rituals that take place during royal dinners. Let's just say you better not be a super slow eater, or you might offend the Queen. Keep watching this video to find out more. If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to subscribe, and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we'll be showing you 20 rules all royal family members need to follow from birth. No monopoly. Some families love to spend time together and bond by playing a board game, like the real estate-themed game Monopoly. Since 1935, people from far and wide have been passing go and collecting $200 with this classic game. Everyone except for the royal family, that is. In 2008, the Leeds Building Society gave Prince Andrew, Duke of York, the game as a gift, but he admitted that the royals weren't allowed to play it because the competition would get too vicious. We have to say, they're definitely missing out on some fun. Gender reveal. Some couples can't wait to announce the gender of their unborn baby to their family and friends, but gender reveals are done a bit differently in the royal family. Parents are actually forbidden from announcing the gender of the baby until it's born. This turns the pregnancy into a fun event where the public can make bets and guesses on whether the mom will have a boy or a girl. There's a chance this long-standing tradition might change in the next few years, but for now, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have continued to stick with this tradition throughout their multiple pregnancies. Hands off. When visitors from other countries meet a member of the royal family, it can be a truly nerve-wracking experience. Because there are so many etiquette rules to abide by, many visitors have accidentally broken a bunch of these traditions and customs. Most people aren't aware that there's a strict no-touching rule when it comes to the royals. This rule dates back to medieval times when monarchs were considered gods, and therefore, they were to remain untouched.
Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch.
In 2009, former United States First Lady Michelle Obama shocked the entire world when she and the Queen embraced each other. While the Brits were ticked off by Michelle getting a bit too handy, judging by this picture, it looks like the Queen was really digging the PDA. NBA player LeBron James made a similar mistake when he wrapped his sweaty arm around Kate Middleton's shoulder. In this photo, you can see the awkward expression on Kate's face. It's pretty clear some royals are okay with being touched, while others aren't. To play it safe, we'll just stick with the hands-off rule if we ever come in contact with someone from this family. Sit like a royal. Women in the royal family aren't allowed to just plop down on a chair however they want. They must sit in a very particular way. All you have to do is pull up photos of Kate Middleton and Princess Diana to see how a royal lady is supposed to sit. Women aren't allowed to cross their legs at the knees. Instead, their legs must be kept together and they can cross them at the ankles if they wish. Leaning their body to the side, known as the Duchess slant, also ensures perfect posture and makes their legs appear longer. Morbid outfit. When traveling, the royal family must pack very specific clothes. When it comes to the children, Prince George must have at least 5 pairs of shorts of various colors in his luggage. Princess Charlotte must have at least 10 barrettes, and the Duchess must have at least 2 pairs of beige pumps. And lastly, each member of the royal family must pack an all-black mourning outfit just in case a relative passes away while they're away from home. This ensures that when they return to the UK and step off of the plane, they'll already be dressed in a respectable and somber outfit to pay their respects. 2 kids. Royal couples are welcome to have 3 or 4 kids, but traditionally, members of this family tend to have no less than 2 children. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have broken this tradition by having 3 kids of their own, but no one seemed to mind. In fact, Queen Elizabeth and members of both families have said to be delighted by the news that the couple was having a 3rd bundle of joy. We think it would be awesome if they expanded their family even further by having 4, 5, or even 6 kids in the near future. Don't turn your back. Whenever someone comes in contact with the Queen, they're instructed to never turn their back to her. It can be seen as a sign of rudeness and disrespect, so everyone must ensure they're always facing her or standing off to the side of her at all times. When former US President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle paid her a visit, they were briefed on all of the royal rules. So they made sure to have their backs to the cameras multiple times in order to talk to the Queen, and they only turned forward to face the media when it was time to take photos. Breastfeeding. Most royal children have been breastfed, but the family has gotten rid of a long tradition of having wet nurses. A wet nurse is a woman who breastfeeds on behalf of the mother, and in the past, the royal family employed many lactating women to get the job done. The women who were hired had to at least be of good character and have a healthy appearance in order to be chosen to breastfeed the royal offspring. In later years, Princess Diana broke this tradition by insisting on nursing William and Harry herself. Special order. The next time the royal family pops up on your television screen, pay close attention to the way they walk and where they're seated. A lot of people don't realize that the family must all walk and sit in a very special order. They line up in accordance to who's next in line to the throne. The official order goes like this. Queen Elizabeth II is first, and her husband, Prince Philip, is always right behind her. Then comes Prince Charles and his wife, Camilla. Prince William is up next, followed by the Duchess, and so on. You will never see them pictured out of this order at formal events. Follow the Queen. During grand dinners, everyone must follow the behavior of the Queen. Tea and snacks are usually on the menu, and tradition states that once the Queen takes her very last bite, everyone else must stop eating as well. And when she stands, everyone must follow suit. This could turn into a problem if a royal family member is a really slow eater, but if they take another bite of food after the Queen is all finished with her plate, they might come across as rude and impolite. Dinner chats. Speaking out of turn is looked down upon when you're dining with the Queen, and this is something Formula One racer Lewis Hamilton found out the hard way. When it's time to feast, the guest of honor usually sits to the right of the Queen, and she speaks to that person during the first course of the dinner. Then she speaks to the person on her left during the second course. Lewis wasn't aware of this royal rule, so he began chatting it up when he wasn't supposed to be speaking to her. Someone actually had to politely tell him that it wasn't his turn to chat. How embarrassing. baptism outfit. Whenever a new baby is baptized by the head of the English church, they wear a very specific outfit. The same flowy lace and satin dress has been used in royal baptisms since 1841. Considering it has been around for so long, it's no surprise that it began to wither away as the years passed by. In 2015, Queen Elizabeth II hired a dressmaker to create an exact duplicate of the traditional dress just in time for Princess Charlotte's baptism. So although it wasn't the exact dress that had been worn by over 60 different royal babies, it was pretty much an exact copy. Potty break. You never know when nature might call.
Now, where does he think he's going? When you gotta go, you gotta go.
But if the royals need to use the potty during a meal or any other event, they're expected to do so in the proper way. You'll never hear a royal shout out, "Hey, I need to take a tinkle." Instead, they're expected to simply say, "Excuse me," and quietly walk to the restroom. If they're excusing themselves during the middle of a meal, they're expected to cross their utensils on their plate so that the wait staff knows that they're not finished eating. Royal handshake. There's a very specific way royals are taught to shake hands. To start, they must make direct eye contact with the person in front of them as they firmly grasp their hand. Then they shake their hand once or twice, but they never ever shake more than twice. Then they're supposed to flash their beautiful royal smile. This tradition is something that anyone can implement into their lives. The next time you meet someone new, give them a royal handshake and pretend like you're a part of this prestigious family. Cloth diapers. For centuries, all royal babies wore fabric diapers that were washed and reused over and over again. But some royal mothers moved away from that tradition in later years. Princess Diana was the first to break many royal traditions, including the use of cloth nappies. She also refused to give birth at home and gave birth to her sons, William and Harry, in a hospital instead. Prince William is also known as the first royal baby to wear disposable diapers instead of the cloth ones. Nanny duties. If you've ever dreamed of being a royal babysitter, you'll need to be highly qualified to even be considered for the job. The royal family doesn't take to hiring process lightly, and they make sure everyone who's a part of the royal household is the perfect fit. To maintain the family's tradition, the nanny must be skilled in how to effectively communicate, and it's also helpful if they have some type of background in martial arts. You know, just in case they need to whoop some butt to protect the royal baby. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge hired a nanny named Maria who was skilled in Taekwondo. She also underwent training on how to dodge the paparazzi with a vehicle and how to drive in various weather conditions. Curtsy. When meeting with the Queen, men and women must greet her in a very traditional and formal way. For men, they bow their necks from the head only. As for the women, they're supposed to give a small curtsy. The longer they hold the curtsy, the more respectful it comes across. In this picture, you can see the Duke and Duchess happily greeting the Queen in the respectful and traditional way. For those who aren't British, they can also greet her by these traditional gestures, but it's not expected if the Queen isn't your head of state. Wedding bouquet. Even a royal bride's wedding bouquet has to stick to the traditions and customs of the royal family. All wedding bouquets must contain the myrtle flower, which is taken from a tree that's grown in Queen Victoria's 170-year-old garden. Each bouquet, including the Duchess of Cambridge's bouquet from her 2011 wedding, has contained at least a sprig of myrtle. This flower is a sign of luck and happiness in a marriage, and it's also considered a symbol of love. During the next royal wedding, pay close attention to the bride's bouquet. We guarantee there will be a sprig of myrtle in there somewhere. Kids' clothing. There's a reason why you never see Prince George in a pair of pants. His parents are dressing him the same way all royal babies have dressed before him. Tradition calls for only adults to wear pants and trousers, so even if it's freezing cold outside, George will always have his adorable little shorts on. He'll be expected to dress in this manner up until he reaches the age of 8, and that's when he'll officially be allowed to wear trousers. His father William also wore shorts in the early years of his life. 4 names. And lastly, all royal babies are given either 3 or 4 names. Prince William's official name is William Arthur Philip Louis, and Prince Harry's real name is Henry Charles Albert David. Some may be surprised to know that the royals don't have an official last name. If a last name is required, such as when Prince George was enrolled into school, their title can be used in that place instead. So for example, Prince George uses the last name of Cambridge when he attends school. Pretty fascinating, isn't it?
As the soon-to-be wife of Prince Harry, saying American-born Meghan Markle is under a bit of scrutiny is an understatement. Like many of us, she has enjoyed a social media presence over the years, but there are some things the royal family wouldn't want you to see. Although she's recently deleted her social media, the internet never forgets. If you do want to see the latest videos from the taco, be sure to subscribe and leave us a comment for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card. Now, let's take a look at those photos. Sweet hints. Blossoming romance is always exciting, whether the guy you're swooning over is a prince or not. We don't blame Meghan Markle for gushing a bit on Instagram when she first started dating Prince Harry, like when she posted a gorgeous bunch of pink and white peonies with the caption, "Swooning over these," and included the hashtags London, peonies, and spoiled rotten. Gee, we wonder who sent her those. They said that food is the way to a man's heart, but we think you're supposed to feed them, not post food pics on Insta. But Meghan posted a picture of a cookie that says, "Kiss me along with London," and we were able to pick up on the subtle message to Prince Harry. For a healthier treat, she also posted a picture of 2 bananas cuddling. Wait, is it spooning if it's bananas that are doing it? Swimsuit snaps. Is it really a beach vacation if you don't post some enviable pictures of you in a swimsuit taking in some surf, sun, and sand? Meghan Markle takes it to the next level in this photo, in which she shows off her flexibility and yoga ability on the beach. An impressive photo for sure, but one we are guessing the royal family wouldn't want floating around of its newest member. When the ocean isn't around, she's also happy to post photos of her relaxing in gorgeous tropical swimming pools, naturally showing off her impressive figure in a bikini. And of course, there is also a picture of her relaxing in a pool with a glass of wine within arm's reach. Hey, it's a vacation after all. Although vacations do come with a downside, like when your bare legs get bitten up by mosquitoes and dabs of calamine lotion are your only hope for relief. Bedtime. Meghan Markle likes posting photos of herself relaxing at home, but these seem like the sort of pictures that we expect from members of the Kardashian clan and less from a member of the royal family. And naturally, like many homebodies, Meghan spends a lot of her time in her bed, which is reflected in her photographs, like in this classic mirror selfie. Sometimes she's not alone in her bed, and she isn't shy about showing off photos of her cuddling up with one of her beloved rescue dogs in bed. And just to round out the trifecta of cliche bedtime pics, we also have one of her obscuring most of her face as she cuddles over her pillow. Basic pics. Okay, it might seem like a strange rule that members of the royal family don't have personal social media accounts, but there is some merit to it. It's hard to take someone seriously as a dignified member of the royal family once you have seen them with that ridiculous but pervasive dog Snapchat filter on their face. Actually, if everyone could agree to stop using that filter, that would be terrific. And in case you weren't sure at this point if Meghan enjoys an occasional glass of wine or not, here we have a photo of her double fisting glasses of it. Efficient, perhaps, but we can safely say it's probably not the classiest of pictures, even though we may or may not be guilty of such things ourselves. We also found a picture of her wearing a peach bridesmaid dress in a friend's wedding, which we're sure the bride assured her she can totally wear again after the wedding is over. Throwbacks. Meghan Markle's life wasn't always as glamorous as it is now, and she's not shy about showing the way that it used to be on Instagram. This picture of her on a trip at 19 years old is a stark contrast to her trips as an adult. She even admits in the caption that she was trying so hard to be grown up. Don't worry, teenage Meghan, you'll get there. Then we have the adorable baby photos, of course, including a photo of infant Meghan snoozing on her dad's chest, while her dad, Thomas Markle, looks pretty over the whole thing. There's also an adorable photo of her as a baby on a picnic with her mom, Doria Radlin. At least Meghan's mealtime pics are considerably classier nowadays, and even though they're much older now, Meghan still loves showing off pictures that show how close she is to her mother. Scandalous outfits. Sure, we aren't afraid to applaud Meghan Markle for her fashion sense, but not all of her outfits are ones that the royal family would approve of, including this pic of her wearing a crocheted watermelon bikini. But it's not all lounging by the pool. Meghan Markle is seen here wearing a very provocative outfit on the set of a photo shoot. Meghan Markle is an actress and has done a lot of modeling work, so it stands to reason that she's had to don many revealing outfits in her line of work. Even a pretty standard yoga getup can be considered scandalous if we are going by the standards of Buckingham Palace. But when she's at home, it seems that sometimes she likes to relax in a more casual but very leg-bearing outfit. The Tig. Like many people who love to travel and have the means to do so frequently, Meghan Markle once maintained a lifestyle blog called Tig. Just as her social media accounts were shut down, so was the Tig, with this one farewell collage for her loyal fans. Many of her favorite posts for the Tig made their way onto her Instagram, including this one which shows her in front of graffiti that says, "You are loved." It accompanied a post she had written containing advice to single people. However, we suppose her days of dishing out dating advice are over. We're sorry to disappoint fans who enjoyed following Meghan Markle's clothes and shoes shopping and dining excursions, but it looks like those days, like the TIG, are long gone. Suggestive pics. As the newest member of the royal family, Meghan Markle needs to pretend to be posh, meaning that a lot of her jokes and pictures aren't suitable to be seen. Sure, this might just be some scandalous packaging on a pair of pajamas, but we are guessing the Queen wouldn't find it amusing. This photo showing Meghan giving Suits co-star Patrick J. Adams a quick peck on the cheek became a huge deal and earning the pair a lot of public backlash. There are also a few pictures that allude to a party-friendly lifestyle. Instead of sipping on wine, we see Meghan hanging out on the beach with a can of beer, which is much less classy. There's also the pictures from Ibiza showing Meghan and friends partying with tequila sodas. Wine time. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle began their romance, everyone was eager to know just how these two crazy kids met and fell in love. Although Markle tried to stay hush-hush to respect her friend's privacy, many people speculate that the setup was the work of designer Misha Nonu. This casual photo of Misha and Meghan enjoying some wine is something we would take with our besties ourselves. But it's also the sort of casual girls' night that doesn't quite fit the proper image of the royal family. We also see Meghan enjoying a relaxing night in with just her two dogs, Bogart and Guy. And no Friday night in on the couch would be complete without a big glass of wine. Hey, at least she's in her clothes and not in pajamas like the rest of us would be. Sneaky hints. At first glance, this photo might seem pretty innocuous, but it caused quite the stir in the early days of courtship between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Notice anything strange in this photo? Eagle-eyed viewers and royal family devotees may notice that the bracelet she's wearing is very similar to the one that Prince Harry has been known to wear. This left many of us wondering if this photo was a subtle hint about their burgeoning relationship. Being fixed up with a date is still more prestigious than meeting on Tinder, but our favorite couple won't admit who set them up. Some believe it's designer Misha Nonu, but another popular speculation is Violet von Westenholz, as seen in this now deleted Instagram photo. Von Westenholz is the PR director for Ralph Lauren and the daughter of a baron, so she's in no short supply of connections. Famous friends. Even if they aren't setting her up with princes, Meghan Markle has a lot of high-profile friends that she loves taking selfies with. Here's a summary snap of her with her best friend and fashion designer, Jessica Mulroney. The pair took a trip to Italy together, and Meghan claims the motto of their trip was Eat, Pray, Love. Of course, sometimes she's up for a more casual, friendly jaunt, such as when she biked around the Soho farmhouse with Millie McIntosh. You might recognize Millie from the reality show Made in Chelsea. And it seems that even Meghan Markle can't escape the allure of everyone's current favorite musical, Hamilton. Here we see her and her pal actress Priyanka Chopra taking in the biggest show around. Based on her now defunct Instagram, it seems that Meghan Markle was schmoozing with celebs and stars long before she met Prince Harry. Holidays. An American marrying into the royal family has been huge news and has been controversial to some, but we wonder if Meghan Markle will be able to give up her love for Thanksgiving. Her shades lead us to believe she might be celebrating it somewhere sunny, but here we see her smiling while looking at a massive turkey, just like so many other Americans. And Thanksgiving isn't the only holiday she's proud to celebrate. She's also having a bit of fun here with an oversized sweater and an oversized jack-o'-lantern. We wonder how she will cope with the much more extravagant and much less casual holiday celebrations with her new royal family. At least we can enjoy the thought of the Queen's face if she sees Meghan donning a pumpkin on her head. Fashion. When she isn't showing off her holiday celebrations or her famous friends, Meghan Markle is known for giving us a glimpse at her impeccable fashion sense. Not only does this photo give us some good vibes, but a good look at her adorable kitty flats by Charlotte Olympia. In another casual scene on the set of Suits, we see Meghan dressed in a pair of flats, jean shorts, and a simple white button-down with oversized sunglasses. We love her sense of style so much, she isn't even able to hide it behind several bouquets of flowers. We see her casual ripped jeans paired with a white sweater and stylish camel coat. Even though this is a candid shot instead of a carefully posed selfie, Meghan still looks like a fashion model as she makes her way down the street. Nonu. For those of you that believe Meghan and Prince Harry were set up by Misha Nonu, we can't prove that conclusively. However, judging by her Instagram, we do know that Meghan and Misha are best friends. The two ladies took a trip to Spain together and met up with friend Marcus Anderson. Anderson is another contender for who introduced the couple, and the pair were spotted together during the Invictus Games opening ceremonies in Toronto. While we don't know if Misha designed Meghan's romance with Prince Harry, we do know she designs a lot of her clothes. Perhaps most notably, this white button-down husband shirt. In fact, it's the shirt that she wore for her first official appearance with her now fiancé, a subtle nod to the friend and fashion designer that set them up, or merely a coincidence? We will let you decide that one. England. It's no secret that Meghan Markle loves to travel, and we love seeing casual tourist photos from her soon-to-be home country. This photo was taken when Meghan and Prince Harry had just started dating, and Meghan was exploring the city that would soon become much more important to her. She even took some photos you might see in any tourist blog, including this one of the famous Victoria Memorial, located outside of Buckingham Palace. Maybe these were just a few shots of her vacation, or maybe they were a bit of foreshadowing about things to come in her near future. There is also this shot of a mysterious bearded man wearing a Golden Girls shirt. Now, Meghan has a ton of friends this could be, but many people have wondered if this could actually be a photo of Prince Harry himself. What do you think? Do you think Meghan Markle should still be allowed to have an Instagram account, or do you think that's a fair admission fee to be allowed into the royal family? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to the Taco for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.